All right, welcome back, everybody. Episode number 22 of the Plumecast. Thank you again all for stopping by. Another week of videos. Thank you for watching and tuning into all my content. If you haven't checked it out, make sure to go check it out. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. If you like what you see in any of those videos, or if you like what you see through the Plumecast, also go check me out on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter if you're on Twitter, and if not, whatever. But yeah, I am on Twitter. I am on Facebook and Instagram as well. So check out those channels if you haven't. But yeah, this week has been a very relaxing week. If you guys saw my videos that I put out this week, I was on vacation. I was actually on a cottage on a lake, just did some fishing, some canoeing, some making of fires and sitting by the fire and cooking food on the fire, some lumberjack wood chopping. And yeah, it was just relaxing, just to get away from everything, not think about all of the stuff that is going on in the world. Although I did continue to think about video games a lot, as you guys saw. I did still make videos because I wanted to make sure that you had daily content. But I'd be lying if I didn't say that I do it even on vacation because I just love to do it. Like, it brings me happiness and joy. So stepping away from making videos to me really isn't a vacation in a sense that I'm happy when I do it. So I was able to do what I love to do, and then I'll also just relax in the wilderness in the middle of nowhere and just get away from civilization for a bit. So yeah, it was fun, and but happy to be back now, and happy to be recording Plumecast episode number 22. Now, in terms of games I've been playing this week, none really, other than Psychonauts 2 before I left on vacation, and then when I got back the other day, a bit more of it. Now, I'm near the very end. I probably have like 20 minutes left in the game, and honestly, it is one of the best games I've played this year. I absolutely love Psychonauts 2. It's that good. When the reviews started coming out about it, I was excited. I was like, oh man, everyone's saying it's so good, game of the year. It's a game I've been waiting for all year. Probably one of my most anticipated games of the year. I played the first one way back on the OG Xbox. I enjoyed it. I love Double Fine and the stuff that they make. I love Tim Schafer and his like quirky brain and his creativity with a game like Brutal Legends, and I just couldn't wait for Psychonauts 2. And I saw the reviews and I got super hyped for it. And then I started playing it. And I have to say, to be completely honest with you, within the first hour or so, I thought it was good. I didn't think it was game of the year. I didn't think it was as good as everybody was saying it was. And I was just confused. Like, well, why is everyone hyping this up so much? It's a great game, for sure. Don't get me wrong. But I thought they were overhyping it. That was within the first hour of playing the game. The reason I felt like that, the reason I thought that, was because, well, one, it was a premature review in my mind of the game, but I think most people do that. They know if they're going to love a game, or, you know, they kind of come to the conclusions of a game so early that they don't give it a chance, and it could be an amazing game that they miss out on. But yeah, it was because the reason I thought that was because I found like it was so easy at the beginning. The platforming wasn't that crazy. Like, it wasn't that intricate and wasn't that hard. And there were just so many times where you run from point A to point B within like 30 seconds and there'd be another cutscene. And I was just like, oh man, is it going to be like this the whole time? And it wasn't, not even close. After I got through the first hour or a bit or whatever, how long it was, the game opens up. The platforming is incredible. The graphics are incredible throughout the entire thing. The stories and development, and just their like attitudes within the game. It's really, really well done. And it's easily now, as I'm approaching the end, I would say maybe 20 minutes left in it, because I'm pretty sure I'm at like very close to the end. It's up there as one of the best games I've played this year, if not the best game that I've played this year. And I would not be surprised if it did win Game of the Year. Now, when it comes to like Game Awards and Game of the Year, I don't really care about that kind of stuff. Most people shouldn't really care about it. Like, you shouldn't be using, like, for fanboys that use this stuff for bragging, it's so stupid, because like the people that should care about the Game Awards and Game of the Year are the people that make the game, because they get recognized for the amazing work that they've done. But yeah, I think since it's going to be in the discussion of Game of the Year, I think it has a good chance at winning. It's that good. Like, if you haven't played Psychonauts 2, I highly recommend checking it out, especially if you like 3D platformers. This will be one of the best ones you play in a very, very long time. And what this has done for me is my excitement level for Double Fine, the stuff that they're going to be working on in the future, has just gone way up there, like way up to the top of all of the Xbox game studios. studios, not number one, but like it's higher and higher, because one, I love 3D platformers, one of my favorite genres, and two, to be able to see what they are able to do with more money, more resources with Psychonauts 2, the next stuff that's going to be coming out from them is going to be along those same lines. So that's exciting. And they said they're working on multiple projects. So we're going to get more really creative stuff out of the mind of Double Fine, which always I love to see. And then we're probably going to get a Psychonauts 3 at some point in the future. And it's just such a gem of an Xbox studio to have an Xbox game. Now, I know Psychonauts 2 is multi-platform. They released on the PS4 because they were making this game before Xbox acquired them, but going forward, all the Double Fine games are going to be exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem. You can pretty much guarantee that it's going to be the same thing as like the Bethesda stuff. And there's going to be people asking, is Psychonauts 3 coming out on PlayStation? Most likely it will not be. I'd be super shocked if it did. But yeah, check it out if you haven't. It's amazing. And one thing, how I know it's a great game as well, is that my wife is loving it. Like, she's not a 3D platformer person. She hasn't played very many in her life. She sees me playing platformers and 3D platformers all the time. She's like, oh, I don't know if I can play this because I'm always going to fall off the ledges and stuff. And yeah, she does. And she's falling off the ledges in Psychonauts 2 as well, but she's been binging the game. She's almost caught up to where I am. That's how much she's loving it. And I asked her, like, and she played Ratchet and Clank and she played Psychonauts 2, and she says the Psychonauts 2 is significantly better. And I would agree with her on that. I loved Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I thought it was a great game. I played it, I beat it, and I put maybe 12 15 hours into it, and I think I got 97% of the entire game completed, which means collected everything and all that kind of stuff. And I think Psychonauts 2 has beat Insomniac and has beat Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart for a couple of reasons. One, the overall game world in Psychonauts 2 is better. It's more vast, there's more stuff to do. It sucks you in more than Ratchet and Clank. It's just way more creative. It's not even close in terms of the creativity. The characters, I think, are better in terms of all the NPCs with Raz, his classmates, and just everybody standing around when you're running around and everything. And the overall world development and the overall game world in general, it's just, I think, better, because in Ratchet and Clank, a lot of it is just going from point A to point B and you're on rails, and it's fun. Don't get me wrong. I love the game. It's a fun game to play 100%. I just think that Psychonauts 2 is a much more fleshed out game, and overall a better game. And I know that's going to really trigger a lot of PlayStation people if they were to hear that, but I can't, that's honestly how I feel. And it's crazy to think that Double Fine was able to match Insomniac in terms of what they were able to produce. And I say it's crazy just because we've seen games like Sunset Overdrive, Spider-Man, and all the Ratchet and Clank stuff come out of Insomniac, which have all been really, really critically acclaimed, well done games. But it isn't crazy when you sit back and think now they're able to do it because they probably have all the time and resources and everything from being acquired by Microsoft, which gives them just such a bigger opportunity to create amazing worlds. And they've done that with Psychonauts 2. So yeah, that's all really I've been able to play this week. Go check it out if you haven't. It's well worth the download. And hey, if push through that first hour or so if you find it boring, because you will fall in love with this world. You will fall in love with the characters and with the game overall. But yeah, that's all I've been able to play. In terms of beer, I drink a ton of beer at the cottage. Ton. So I didn't get out before recording this podcast to get a new beer. I was almost not going to have a beer on this episode, but luckily I scrounged through my fridge that didn't have too much stuff in it because I've been away for a little bit, and I was able to find this random beer sitting in the back behind on its side behind a bunch of stuff. And I was like, okay, well, I'll drink this because I drink a beer on every podcast. And it is, I think I've had it before on here, but it's St. Ambroise Ale Blonde from Montreal, Quebec. So that's what I'm drinking. It's a good beer, tasty. Not my favorite beer, but hey, better than not having any beer, right? Let me know in the comments below what you guys are drinking. Give me some suggestions, because I will be getting out some time in the next week or so to look for some more craft beers, some more interesting beers that I haven't drank before. And like I said, it's really hard. Depends on what my beer store, my liquor store has at that time to if they sometimes they have some of your suggestions, sometimes they don't. I think last episode they did have one of these suggestions, and hopefully I can get more of that kind of stuff. If it's like a super local craft beer from where you are, probably won't be able to find it, but still leave those suggestions down below in case I ever come to, I don't know, maybe I go on vacation and I'm in an area where that craft beer is sold. I will check it out. All right, jumping over here to some more bad news. If you're somebody who hasn't been able to pick up a next gen console, PS5 or Xbox Series X or S even, and it has to do with the shortages of them, and that they may continue all the way through 2023, which is just crazy to think about. And I feel really stupid reading this because I remember thinking and even saying on some videos that, you know what, don't run out and get this console at launch. Don't pay scalpers. I still don't think you should pay scalpers. That doesn't change. I still don't think you should be paying scalpers crazy amounts for these consoles, but I was like, don't worry about it. Like, they will probably be readily available in June or July after the release of the console, and there'll be more games there and everything. So it's not as, I don't think it'll be as bad as people think it is. And I was wrong on that. I was completely wrong on that. As we've seen these chip shortages just like continue. And now Toshiba is coming out, who is one of the manufacturers of the semiconductors, and saying that the supply of chips will remain very tight until at least September of next year, some customers not being fully served until 2023. Now, when they say some customers not being fully served until 2023, it may not just mean video games. They service a lot of other customers, but video game manufacturers console manufacturers are in that realm of maybe waiting until 2023 to fully meet the demand of the what people want from the PS5 and the Series X. So they say here, we consider which customers face the most severe situation, such as the risk of the whole production line halting or the business getting obliterated without the supply of chips. Toshiba director Takeshi Kamabuchi said, game console makers are among the customers making the strongest demand, and I'm sincerely sorry for their frustration, as none of them have 100% satisfaction. And what's crazy about all of this is that even though we have this insane chip shortage going on right now, the Xbox and the PlayStation 5 have still just beaten all of their like record sales for the launch of a console, and they're both selling crazy well. So you think about if they could get more chips and they could create more consoles, how much more they would actually sell, which is just crazy to think about, because it just shows you how big video games have gotten and how we definitely are in the golden age of gaming. The industry is booming, and we have just non-stop entertainment from video games. It's not like back in with like the Super Nintendo and stuff. There are tons of great games, but you would buy one game, or at least I would buy one game. I'm sure there are other people that are out there like that, or you go rent a game and you would play that game for months. And finally you'll get another game, because one, they were expensive, and two, you didn't have all this information readily available to you with the internet to know what was coming, what was next, what was good, what you wanted to play. You just didn't really know what was out there. You'd have to go look through magazines, or you'd have to go to an actual video game rental store or just a video game store and look at the back of the boxes and just pray that the game you brought home was a good game. And there are so many times you bring a game home just from looking at the box and you'd be disappointed. And it's crazy. I just sometimes sit back and think about that, just how crazy it is, where we've come because of the internet with video games. And it's good. It's also sad a little bit, because I feel like back then you appreciated, or at least I appreciated, the game so much more, just because you really had to cherish every moment with a game. If you rented it for that weekend, right, you'd have to spend every waking minute playing it, because you only had it for 2 days, and then you had to bring it back, and you wouldn't be able to get it again until the next weekend or something like that. So it's just crazy. But yeah, all that to say, we're definitely in the golden age of gaming in terms of the amazing games that we get all the time and the amount of people playing video games. So that's cool to see as well, though, because the community has just grown so much. Even when I was in high school, like I was in high school in what, 2000, early 2000s, and even then I played video games, but it wasn't like so big that if you were somebody who played video games in high school, people still considered you like a nerd or like weird a little bit, which is like, now you probably go to high schools and it's probably like, if you're not playing video games, you're weird and stuff like that. I don't know, but yeah, it's changed a lot. I know that's kind of like a a tangent from what we're talking about, but the chip shortages, if you haven't got a console yet, it's going to be tough. The shortages are going to be there for at least another 2 years. Now, when it comes to actually picking up one of these consoles, it isn't as hard as people actually make it out to be. If you have access to well, I guess it depends who you are as well, right? It depends what you're doing. But if you can follow certain Twitter accounts that post links when stock shows up, or follow like follow the stock online, because there are sites that track it, and you are able to get onto the website and check out within like 5 minutes, I'd say, sometimes even shorter, when the stock comes in or when the stock goes live on the site, you are going to be able to get one. I've actually been able to get the Xbox. I was able to get the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S, and with no problems when they first went on launch in Canada. I mean, maybe easier in Canada. I was able to get two PS5s with very no problem at all. I got two PS5. I just ordered both, and then I returned the one that I didn't need. And then I was actually able to get another Series X for my friend when it came up on stock. So, and I was also able to get the Halo edition of the Series X, but that one was pure luck. If you listen to, I think it was last week's episode when I talked about it, it was pure luck. I wasn't actually able to get that one online. I actually heard about it on Twitter that GameStop was selling them, and I took a chance at like noon the next day just because I was bored, and I remembered, oh, maybe I should just call GameStop and see if they have them, and they still had them. So I think nobody in Canada actually knew that GameStop was selling the pre-orders for them. So I just got lucky on that. But you can get one if you follow the right accounts, if you're on top of the inventory, and make sure that you get onto the website as soon as the stock goes live, because they do go very fast. But like I said, I would not suggest, even though the Series X to me is an incredible console, my favorite, it's been out for a year, let's say now, almost a year. It's already my favorite Xbox. And I compare it to the 360, but it's much better than the 360 overall, just with like all of the features you get with it, with the backwards compatibility, and then Game Pass. Like it can't compare. The 360 was like, I loved it, but you just can't compare with the Series X, and just the size of the console, how quiet it is, and how the next gen games, how good they look. It's an amazing console. I think it's gonna go down as probably my favorite console of all time when it's all said and done, but we will have to wait and see at the end of this generation. But yeah, and then you think about like the Halo edition and how hard that was to get. And when Xbox announced that, maybe they're going to be pissing off more people than making them happy, in the sense that, because everybody's going to want that one, but it's almost going to be impossible to get. So we'll have to see how this all plays out. But when it comes to like the strategies between the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, with these chip shortages, Xbox is going to come out way ahead at the end of the day in terms of a business perspective, because of their ecosystem and because of their subscription base. And we're already seeing Sony and PlayStation kind of scramble, I would say, with doing whatever they can to make sure that they can produce as many PlayStation 5s as possible with this chip shortage. And that requires what we saw with like the Austin Evans breakdown of the newest PlayStation 5 version, them cutting costs and cutting parts and changing up what's actually inside the console, which could end up being not very good for the consumer, because you're going to get cheaper parts with inside the console, because they're going to have to find different manufacturers to be able to create PlayStation 5s in order to meet that demand. And with the Series X and the Series S, will Microsoft do something like that? I don't know. They may. I think that there's far less likely of a chance that they will, just because of their ecosystem, and they know, hey, like, if you can't get a console, you can still get Game Pass on your PC through Android. And they're, instead of like having to be slaves to the box, to the console, they can adjust in other ways. For example, putting Game Pass on smart TVs, putting Game Pass on a streaming stick, which they've talked about. They brought Game Pass with xCloud over to iOS, which is going to open up the market to so many more people in North America. So I don't think they will have to do that kind of stuff, but you never know. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, like I said, if you haven't got one, don't buy from this console. Just make sure to follow the right Twitter accounts, the right websites so that when the stock goes live, you're able to get on one of those consoles. And I know it can be really tough for some people because they're at work or they have family or they're just doing stuff. So it's hard to be on your phone right away. So yeah, that's probably one of the biggest issues too with trying to get one that way. But hey, it's weird times we're living in. It's a weird world we're living in right now, and I guess you just got to adjust to it. But hey, if you don't have an Xbox and you're looking for one, at least you can still sign up for Xbox Game Pass. And hey, if you have an Xbox One, xCloud is coming over to Xbox Game Pass there, or xCloud is coming over to the Xbox One, so you're going to be able to play even the next gen games that you would need a Series X to run those games natively on, which is another reason why I would be very surprised if they were to go along the lines of making adjustments to how they produce the Xbox consoles like PlayStation is doing. But anyways, guys, yeah, let me know, and maybe leave some tips down below for anyone out there who is looking to get a Series X and how you got it, or who they should be following to be able to get those. Anyways, guys, that's it for me for this week. Let me know what you think about everything in the comments below. And again, thank you all for the support. I think I'm at like 5.2K subscribers. So I hit that 5K and I'm continuing to grow. So I'm just really happy that you guys enjoy the content. And I know I told you I would be releasing merch soon. That should be coming. I've been able to receive 3 items so far to check them out. And they seem like decent quality, so I will be putting an announcement together sometime with the stuff that I've received, letting you know that stuff's available. And then as I get more stuff to make sure that the quality is good, I will put the other stuff live, and it'll be like I'll have a website and everything where you guys can go and check it out. So, but yeah, other than that, thank you guys again for the support, and I'll see you this week in my daily content and next week in the Plumecast. Bye.